Hey everyone, a couple requests have come in about taking up a couple of review questions. I'd just like to remind everyone that when we have a Zoom meeting, and those are really great times for you to ask these kinds of questions. I know one student did ask at the very end when almost everybody logged out for some help, and I did take up some of this. Make sure to use your time well when I'm in class and kind of talking with you folks face to face. Use that time well. It shouldn't just be about showing off jerseys and stuff like that. It should be time people ask questions. So just remember that for the future. So I'm going to do question 5 to start. For all these questions, you need to find the perimeter and the area. So typically I break up my questions like this. I do perimeter and area. So perimeter. Perimeter is calculated by using the formula 2 pi r, and these are things that you should start to be knowing off the top of your head. Area is pi r squared. So with this first question, it already gives you the radius. So that's the radius right there. So the good news is you don't need to do anything fancy. For this one, you just go 2 times pi times radius, which is 17. And there is my solution of 17 times 2 times pi, which gets me 106.81. So that's 106.8. I believe I gave it to, I said 106.8, but you could also write 81, and then the units would be millimeters. And there's my 3 lines of work: the statement of the formula, writing in my values, and then my final answer. So again, this would be pi r would be 17 squared. In my calculator, I would then go pi times 17 squared to get 907.92. I believe I only gave it to one decimal place on the sheet. And do not forget your units. So again, 1, 2, 3 lines of working like I've asked. Question 6, perimeter. So this one I gave you because it gives you the diameter and not the radius. So that's the diameter and not the radius. This question kind of says, okay, well, what's the radius? So what I do to start is I take the 77.2 and I divide it by 2 to get my radius. So now my radius is, and it just has it right there, 38.6 centimeters. So now I do the same thing I did before, 2 pi r, which equals 2 pi 38.6, and this one will go area equals pi radius squared, which equals pi times 38.6 squared. Now I'm ready to use my calculator. I do not forget that it's multiplication between each one of those symbols. So I'll do my perimeter first. That's 2 times pi times 38.6, which gets me 242.53 centimeters. And then for my area, it's pi times 38.6 squared. That's what I've typed in on my calculator to get 4,680.85 rounded correctly. Do not forget to round correctly. You can't just drop numbers off. You have to round correctly. And that would be centimeters squared. So those should have been really straightforward and easy. But just a good chance for you to do the radius and do the diameter. And then also know to half the diameter. So that's why I gave you those. The next two were good examples of a sector and a quadrant. So question 7 is a little tricky. So I'm just going to fold this so you can see it. It's nice and clear. Just give me a second. So question 7, pretty straightforward. Sorry. Just going to fold it one more time so it's nice and small. There we go. So question 7. With question 7, it involves a quadrant. So that would be known as a quadrant. Okay, so first let's find the perimeter. I'll break that down step by step. So perimeter still is 2 pi r. Good so far. Now that would be the perimeter of an entire circle all the way around. However, this is just one quadrant or 1/4 of our circle. So what you would do is you'd also multiply this by 1/4. So that gets you the perimeter, or the distance from there right to here. So that's that perimeter right there. Once you have this perimeter right here, then you need to add this side and this side. So right now with my math, I have that side right there figured out. So that's ticked off, that's done. We have that side figured out. Next we need to go plus 76 millimeters, so that gets that side, plus 76 millimeters again, so it gets that side as well. So that's these two sides plus the arc or the round side. So I then can go 1/4 times 2 pi times 76 plus 76 plus 76. If you combine that right there, it's fine. For example, if you did this, I can't do that in my head, I'm sorry, you can feel free to judge me. It's 152. So now I'm ready to do this on my calculator. So what I do is I do 1/4, which is 0.25, but you can do 1 divided by 4 times 2 times pi times 76, and then press equals. That would get you 119.38. I haven't pressed clear yet. I just then press plus, and I add that last little bit, 152, to get me to the final answer of 271.38. You can compress some of this down, but generally I'm just showing all my work and kind of going step by step. And that would be how you get the perimeter for question 7. I'm a little worried that I got a different answer from what I listed on the sheet, so I might double check that in a second, but I'm just going to keep motoring forward. Area. And that was millimeters. So the next thing I'll do is I will repeat this calculation. So the area is a lot easier in my opinion. So area is pi r squared, and again, because we're talking about a quadrant, it's only 1/4 of the circle. So it's only 1/4 of the circle. So again, you would go times 1/4. So you get the area, and then you'd only take or keep 1/4 of it. So it's going to be 1/4 times pi times 76 squared. So the next thing I do is I go 1 divided by 4 times pi times 76 squared equals, and I get 4,536.46, and then my measurement would be millimeters squared. So that makes a lot more sense and looks pretty good. 3 lines of work like I asked, and as I said, the area calculation is going to be way more straightforward than the perimeter ones. Let's do the perimeter for the last part here. So the last part is this sector right there. So I'm going to start out like I did before. I'm going to start with the perimeter, the harder one. So perimeter is equal to 2 pi r. If I did that, that would take care of all of this plus that. So you need to figure out what fraction of a circle this represents. So you know any one circle is 360 degrees. There's 360 degrees in a full circle. If you do a full circle, that is equal to 360 degrees. You know this is 210 degrees of a 360 degree circle. So that is the fraction of a circle that this sector represents, because this is the sector. So that, what I've written right there, so that right there takes care of the round part. We have not gotten the perimeter of these two sections right here. So you know you got to add 37 and add 37. Hope that makes sense so far how I've developed that. So the next thing we're going to do is now we're going to do that. So we write in the next values, so 210 over 360 times 2 pi r. R is now 37, so write that in, and then 37 plus 37 is 74. I'm going to do this in my calculator first and then add the 74. So that's going to be 210 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 37. I press equals to get 135.61. And then there's lots more decimals, so that's what I got there. That's how I typed it in. Finally, I now need to add my 74. So I go plus 74 equals, and I get 209.61, and then my units are millimeters. To find the area, again, it's much easier. So area equals pi r squared. However, how much of a circle does this represent? We use the same strategies we used over here with the sector. We know that it's 210 degrees of a 360 degree circle. So that's how you develop that fraction right there. Next, we write in times pi times r, which is 37 squared. On my calculator, I now type that in. 210 divided by 360 times pi times 37 squared. So it looks like that on my calculator. I then press equals to get the answer of 2,508.82 millimeters squared. And that would be how I would do that work. I'm going to double check my answer for this one real quick after we're done, just to make sure that everything on the answer key is correct, but otherwise that's how you do the work that I had given you to review yesterday. I hope you're all doing well. Take care.